guys with the Houston Texans. Do the Texans go and draft Thibodeau, which I doubt, if Houston goes off, KT's on the board at 4. If we don't take KT at 4, I'm slapping somebody tonight. Somebody. I will be speaking to roll out the door, but we got a packed house, man. I'm proud of us. Proud of you, Jude. Proud of Kev. Proud of Dan. Here we go. 1 year. We did this shit. We did this shit. Fuck the haters. I said it, and I hope you watch it.
So, okay, do you see this scenario where the Jets trade down before or trade up to man?
If Joe Douglas is the evil genius like I expect, he picks K-Ball on the slide, or you like he could get offensive lineman and an edge, you know, open the top 10, yes. But I really feel like the guy that's going to be there for is our guy.
Feel free to comment on the stream. Feel free to comment on the YouTube. Please talk with me.
Ask us questions, chop it up with your boys. Been on this podcast. It's our first NFL draft party. We got a packed house. It's loud. The room is rocking. It's shaking. We're waiting for that number 4 pick overall. Don't forget to go to MIPod.store for your merchandise. MIPod.store for your merchandise. Fuck with your boys. I don't know what Kevin is. I'm trying to get my Wi-Fi. I don't think they're taking Thibodeau, bro. I think it's a corner. I think it's corner. Jermaine Johnson is a solid alternative for the Jets. I'm not a big fan if he's there. No. If we're going to go that route, I'd rather bet 10. It got to be Kings here at 4.
So, Case, what do you think about how so far the draft is taking up very defensively? Like, do you think this is because of the higher power in the AFC? Like, we're losing a lot of defense so far. Do you think it's just a natural counterbalance?
I just think it's a pure talent thing. This is not a highly stacked offensive draft like maybe seemed like last year. There's no destination quarterbacks, anything like that. And of course, you do have to temper your draft picks based on what the AFC is doing. And defense is primarily going to be the thing that comes up the board. Ladies and gentlemen, America, they're taking the Mexican Wanu, and this man's about to come over the table, and you might have connection issues. So I apologize ahead of time. If I came up Wanu, go to the Jets at 4, they take our camera, this man might legitimately come over the table. Break everything on it. We apologize. We will get it up and running by like 6.
I'll use my slow 40 speed right out, take his life.
Man, about to lose his shit. And like, So Dan, let John know that the Wi-Fi signal is garbage. It's another John at the bar. John at the bar.
Difficult. Go after the quarterback for once in our lives. It's time.
It's time, man. Yeah,
it's time.
It's time. Listen, opportunity is right there. Like 7 minutes, but
it's time for a third down defense. Yes. It's time for an end of game situation. It is time.
We literally watched Aaron Donald win the Super Bowl on the defensive stop. I just need to be taken for it. I like chaos. No, you don't. Yes, I do like chaos. Especially chaos I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at you. Stop. Oh, thank you so much. I just got it. I got it tonight. So just ask them about the fan situation. Because it's food, this will be food for everybody.
Yeah, he said it was going to be out there and then like buffet style. So I don't know when it's
not up there yet, man.
No, it's not there yet.
All right. Yo, and they bring the food out as buffet style.
They're still picking. There's a hard decision being made.
So the first 3 picks in the draft went out quick. Right now, the Jets have 4 is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. They're going to use the majority of this clock. It smells like calls right now. My man Fred, what's going on, Fred? Yo, Fred, tell him your name at the bar. Get your drink ticket. Yeah, get your drink ticket. Yeah, that means they don't know what's going on. Everybody else, niggas in. They're taking calls. They're taking calls right now.
Trade down.
Somebody's calling right now. Shut the fuck up. How about that? Of course, commercial. Not yet. Listen, they're doing it. It has to be intentional. This has to be.
Oh, shit.
If Woody's in the room, it's KT. If Woody's in the room, it's KT. I'm fighting about it. You think Woody wants to go backwards? He took Reeves. What are you talking about? Did you see Reeves play? Hey, man, hey. You cover like that. Guys, we're a few minutes away. I see announcement. Yo, we about to have chaos, ladies and gentlemen. America, we about to have chaos. If KT is the pick, chaotic, everybody gets a drink on me. Oh, if Juan was the pick, I would leave it. Okay. Why are you letting him just the big drinks on me? Drinks on me. Yo, KT, baby! Here we go. Everybody gets smiling like assholes. Y'all better be doing the right thing. They get smiling like jerks. They shaking hands. Get ready for the Rayos commercial. It's gonna be crazy. Let it be KT, please. Yo, no matter what the pick is, I'm gonna be like, damn. I'm gonna talk all good about it. I don't care who. Unless it's Kyle Hamilton. If pick Kyle Hamilton, I will say a little fighting guard. Sauce for me is gonna be like, okay, all right. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be mad at you. The pick has been in for mad long. It's the build up of the drama. The drama's building. The drama's building. The theatrics. This is what it's about. Let's go. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes.
With the fourth pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Sauce.
Yes! Oh, yes! All right. All right. All right. Yes! All right. All right. Okay. That was, it wasn't the pick I wanted, but it wasn't offensive lineman. Let's go. Yo, let's go. Let's go. It wasn't offensive lineman. That's all that matters. Sauce Gardner is the #1 cornerback in the draft. That's back-to-back corners.
I am happy
And Sauce,
that was not the chaos I was asking for, but I'm cool. I'm happy.
It's solid. That automatically makes our secondary solid. Even with a safety position open right now, that means we don't have to worry about talking about Hall or Eccles. The pick, the CB1 is Sauce Gardner. Now, Joe Douglas had a decision to make at 10, but we got our guy. And also, the Beckham haters, Beckham is still in play.
Yeah,
Beckham
Beckham's
play.
Sorry, guys. Beckham's saying. I know you guys.
Yeah, solid.
Is it sauce or is it gravy?
I mean, he gave it away. He gave it away.
I know he didn't just say
What he gave away? What
Is
he gave
it
away?
gravy or is it sauce?
He did.
Mamma mia! Is it gravy or is it sauce? It's sauce. Gardner.
what's going on?
Come on down, Jake. We got Jake Brown in the building. Gang Soul Here podcast and Mason the True podcast. Works
Everyone, the food served in the corner, buffet style.
Appreciate that. Yo, there you go, greedy people, hungry people. Jake, what's your reaction for Bob Gardner at 4?
Well, only fitting he brought up the buffet after picking sauce. It was a no-brainer. You put him with Reed and all the additions that they've made to that secondary. It's scary. I mean, it's a match made in heaven for New York. I said to you, Rayo's commercial.
Right.
You're going to have, it's either SAWCE or sauce.
Right.
I'm getting a customized sauce jersey. This is a pick that was needed for a secondary that was so young that we don't have to see Pinnock be a starting cornerback. Right. He's a 3 or a 4. Right. And that makes a defensive built team with Salah so much more dangerous. So, and I think you're happy they didn't take Hickey. So I'm happy for you.
Listen, I promised everybody drinks. If they got KT, they didn't get KT, but they didn't get a quantum. The question we had was, Sauce going to work in this system because he does play man, and the Jets do play was it cover 2, cover 3. A lot of zone and quarter. Do you think Sauce will be able to make that adjustment in Robert Sala's defense?
Listen, he didn't give up more than 13 yards in a single game last year. He could do anything. The guy didn't give him a touchdown. I know the competition wasn't as high as, the USCs and the bigger schools, but this kid's a stud. They speak highly of him. When you have that nickname, you're already a stud in my book. So I'm not worried. And they have flexibility with Bryce Hall, who showed us some signs last year that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And Whitehead as well, the guy who could play in the slot as a corner as well. They have some flexibility there. I thought they could have went pass rusher, but now it's intriguing that Jermaine Johnson's there at 10. You get Jermaine Johnson and Sauce, and there's a parade down the canyon.
Listen, I've gone on record to say one came on some of them, but I also said if Joe Douglas can pull off a double dip on defense and get an edge and get a corner, lock it in. Jermaine Johnson at 10 would be interesting. But what about the wide receiver position? I'm hearing things about Drake London, Drake being the guy that the Jets like. Do you think they make a trade back at 10, or do they stand pat?
I trade it if it involves Deebo Samuel. That would be a no-brainer to me. I guess we move back a couple spots, and then maybe they take Lindenbaum, the center out of Iowa. That's an interesting piece. I like that move. But you could also maybe trade a second-round pick and a future first to go get him. So he has some wiggle room to make some decisions. I would get Wilson, the receiver, if Jermaine Johnson's off the board. If Johnson's off the board, you take him. KT will be off the board by 10 if he's not. It's a no-brainer to take KT.
I think the byline was 1 through 4. Power to the AFC. Do you think the focus on defense because of the offensive talent out here, or because the league continues to get more vertical and vertical?
Well, yeah, that's why we're saying this is the craziest draft in 30 years because it's so unpredictable. There's not that superstar quarterback, receiver, running back. There's no Saquon. There's no, top quarterback, Baker, maybe whoever. It's just not on the board this year. So that's why you're seeing so much defense. I think it was just down here offensively. There wasn't a lot of explosive offensive players at the top. Now, in the second round, there'll be plenty to pick from at receiver. So that's why I'm not too worried. I still think there'll be a disgruntled receiver trade opportunity, whether it's Debo, whether it's A.J. Brown, someone else down the road. We'll see what the Giants do here. I think they're going to take it off the clock.
We got the Giants on the clock at 5. We got a Giants fan in the building. Come around. Yeah, come around. We got a Giants fan in the building. Giants on the clock at 5. Who do you like at 5 for the New York Giants?
I would say we're going to get an offensive lineman. Thibodeau just slipping a little bit, so.
Then Icky at 7.
Cross. They like Cross from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner did say he was confident he was going to New York. He didn't say Jets and Giants. They scrapped New York. And I did hear something that he was going to place in horses in Jersey. I believe that Kayvon Thibodeau will be pick at 5.
You got 3 top linemen available. They'll still be there on 7. One is right.
You have the pick. You have the choice.
My worry is KT in New York. He's already has a larger-than-life ego in New York City. Billboards can get the best of you. We've seen it happen before. But at 5, it would be a solid pick here.
With the 5th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Football Giants select Kayvon.
There it is.
Told you. There you go. Congrats to the New York Giants. Kayvon is in New York as he predicted. Like I said, he was looking for 4 places in Morrison. Shout out to Emerson and Erica. I know Erica is pissed off. She wanted the Jets to get Kayvon to be on 4. But I always felt if they passed him at 4, Giants think on 5. It's a no-brainer. The Giants have not had great edge work in a long time. We're talking about a team that has Michael Strahan, Osimhen Norm, Jason Pierre-Paul. So this continues a trend of top defensive edge talent in New York. How do you feel about that?
It's all good right now. Just going to be interested in a couple of years, looking back to see who made a better draft choice between the Jets and Giants right next to each other. So usually now you could be like, did the Jets get the top corner of the league, or did the Giants get a top edge? So we've seen a couple of years.
I think at 5, it's great value, despite the risk that comes with them that everyone's talked about. If it works out, this was the guy who was the number 1 pick last year. So you're getting the number 1 pick at 5 a year later. You're right. They have had no pass rush, just like the Jets. It's been since John Abraham since they've had an elite pass rush. For the Giants, it's been a long time, too. They've had guys come in and fail. Well, here's a chance to be a star in New York. Sauce and KT, big personalities, nicknames, the ice, the drip.
Yes.
I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of both. It's New York lifestyle. I like it.
How do you guys? It kind of feels like they can't go wrong, right? Like it kind of feels like, how can you fuck this up?
Right. Well, they can still get offensive linemen right now. They're not Steven. Right. Or, as you said, Cross. Right. Although I don't know if they'll take Cross. But you have to pick of 3 elite offensive linemen. You're in a great position.
The great thing I like about it, like you said, having Sauce at 4 for the Jets, having Kayvon at 5 for the Giants, New York has some swag in the building for the first time in a all the time. So I hope all the best for Kayvon. I wish him the best. I wanted him for New York, for us, for the Jets. But we got sauce. Let's get saucy, baby. Let's get saucy. But you know what? When they brought the kid from Make-A-Wish, I really felt like Kayvon was going to be the guy because Kayvon does have this air about him, but he doesn't give back and do right by the people. People talk about his character and stuff like that. His brand is into the quarterback. What do you think? Over under who to guess right now? How many sacks in the rookie season?
6? Is that a fair number?
I had 8 in my head.
6 to 8 range, I think, is a fair number, right?
The Giants traditionally don't get too strong. Wide receiver, no defensive end. I feel like he's going to be in the mix for the best rookie of the year. Right up there. I'm going to go over 8.5.
I mean, they had a chance last year to draft Parsons, and they traded out. And Parsons
How came back to bite him in the
same
ass.
division.
Yeah.
So those kind of, mindset right now, we have to make this pick right. We said this draft pick is out of trade.
Listen, this is Joe Shane's first test. Now, Giants fans still have a bitter feeling in their mouth from Dave Gettleman. He's gone. You got a fresh GM, fresh coach. Fans are so pumped up right now. But
Trying to keep the Wi-Fi situation connected, but for those who are watching, we appreciate you guys. This is your boy Andrew Case. We got Jake Brown, the coach of New York. Other coaches out in the building. I don't even know this man.
Ron.
So hey, love is love with everybody here rocking out. Tell me your Twitter, make sure they follow us.
Follow me on Twitter, Ron654, same me on IG, and Fantasy Sports News Podcast on Spotify.
Appreciate it, man. Much love. Thank you, man. Thank you for your time. Of course, man. Of course. Man, so
I'm ready to see what the Giants do at 7. I think which offensive lineman is intriguing. Because don't rule out the Jets getting an offensive lineman at 10 now. If one of those big three is on the board, it's not out of the realm that they don't go receiver. I think that's what everyone assumes, but with Joe Douglas, you don't know that.
I mean, Carolina has a fixed offensive line too. I mean, they had a couple of gaps in the offseason, but I forgot who the gentleman was we let go. They have to fix the tackle position. There's guys there, there's Hill, there's Cross, there's Guano, or you think they go opposite direction and maybe go defense.
I think they're going to Neal and Hickey back-to-back here, 6 and 7. I'd be surprised if they get past that.
Rick Seems like not going to be 5 straight defensive picks in the first round. Unprecedented in the NFL.
Yeah, if the Panthers don't go offensive line, things are going to get interesting. That's what we already had a couple of shakeups so far with KT falling a little bit. No one knew what the Jets were doing it for. Everyone had a report. All the reports of BS. No one knew anything.
Listen, the funny thing about that, Woody did reveal the draft war room on TikTok. And he said, this is where the sauce is happening. He gave it away. I think Woody wanted to replace Revis. He said, let it know the sauce is the building on the sauce. Now it's up to Joe Douglas and the rest of the guys to figure out what he's going to do at edge. But at the end of the day, I'm just happy that they didn't go tackle. What does that mean for the guy right now in New York? It's if they don't go tackle, I mean, still opportunity. Well,
it means Mekhi Becton's eating good, but hopefully not too good because we got to get him to cut a few pounds. But he's eating good because he's comfortable because his job is locked in. And I don't think it would have been the end of the world because George Mann, let's be realistic, probably has one more year. He's been tremendous, and I think he's exceeded our expectations. But he's getting older. He's got a year left in his contract. They can still use someone there, but it wasn't a need for this season. And I think that's why at 10-2, you're not going to get Jameson because he's not going to be ready. You need a guy that's ready in week 1, and he's not going to be. So we'll see. I think Mekhi Becton it seems like he's doing all the work in the off season, the videos, the pictures, losing weight in the weight room. And he's primed for a big comeback here, and a lot of people talk smack about him. Too fat, can't stay healthy, underperforming. Listen, I'm a fat boy. I respect a fellow fat boy. I'm rooting for Mekhi Becton to be, the big ticket 71 in this coming year, because this is a boom or bust kind of year for him. If he's a bust and doesn't play, who knows if he's a Jet?
I mean, I was saying it last maybe a couple of days ago in Spaces. There are 22 tackles in this draft. A lot of big bodies out there. I didn't feel like it was a precipitation place to get tackled. You can find somebody from the line. Also, as far as Spence is concerned, I mean, I don't look at the age thing anything crazy. He's 30 years old. I feel like he has a few years left in his neck. And plus, he's playing in a system he's thriving in. He didn't thrive too well in Gates' system on the right side. He's thriving well in Mexico on the left. I feel like it might be risky to bring him back to just go back to the right side, but I feel he's comfortable.
I don't think the water boy thrived in Gase's system. No one did. I mean, the ticket taker, the GM, everyone from you can never have too many offensive linemen. We've seen the injuries. The Jets know it very well, and with Mekhi himself, that injuries happen. But this is the right pick. Now we see, all right, offensive lineman, what do you think here? I'm going to say they go Neal. Well, they took Hickey, so Neal's a Giant. That should be a lock.
Wow.
I like his blazer.
Not really a head scratcher here. Like I said, Carolina kind of messed up offensive line in the offseason last year, and I think one of the bills is a play need right away. They still have to share quarterback. Blake Wilson is in the building. Possibly may get picked in the first round, may not get picked in the first round. But if we were to get picked, Blake Wilson, as far as I'm concerned, what team would you go to?
I don't know. I mean, maybe Atlanta? I don't know. I don't think everyone's too high in the quarterback. Seattle's an option too. Drew Lock is not the long-term answer. I don't think he hasn't proven much at all. So I don't know if he's the guy. But Ickey would have been interesting in New York because the guy loves musicals. He sings. He's a singer. And then he did musical theater in high school. I felt that would have been kind of fun. Tiki Barber was on Broadway and Kinky Boots. To have Ickey on Broadway, that would have been pretty fun to see. So now I think it's a lock that it's going to be Neal. And listen, Ickey falling to 6, that's a steal for the Panthers. This guy is regarded as possibly the best offensive lineman in the draft. Evan Neal's probably number 2. So I think the Giants fans should be thrilled that they're going to probably end up with Neal and KT. And then we wait to see if we're thrilled with our 10th pick.
Listen, I had a feeling that when Brian Devil came to the building and the GM came to the building, the Giants had a lot of the change. Declining Daniel Jones for the option was the first one to trip control. I feel like Giants will be in a good position for the next 2-3 seasons as soon as they find their quarterback.
There's a lot of positive vibes with the Giants. I do the Blue Rush podcast with Lawrence Times and Paul Schwartz, and we talked to Xavier McKinney last week, and he talked about the difference in culture since Brian Daboll's been there already. He said things are less stressful. They're less uptight. He said Daboll FaceTimes him smoking a cigar on a beach. Who doesn't love their head coach FaceTiming them smoking a cigar? Who doesn't? Cigars, a blunt, whatever it was. He was smoking on a beach, and he checks in with his guys. The vibes around the Giants are a lot better than they were with Joe Judge. And every player we had on, I asked, how many laps have you ran? And, they would kind of skirt around it, but you could tell they did not love Joe Judge. And they already love this new regime. And I think Jets fans love the regime they have with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh. So I think the regime is good. Now can we take that regime and get wins out of it? That's the goal for this year. Both teams can try to get, 6, 7 wins? I don't know if there's a wins total, but I think if Zach Wilson improves, the Jets win 6 to 7 games. Daniel Jones proves he's the Giants franchise quarterback. They win 6 to 7 games. That's kind of the direction you want for New York football.
Absolutely. The Giants pick us in at number 7. We definitely think offensive line. I'm going to go cross Mississippi State. I've heard a lot of Evan Neal possibly sliding because there was maybe an undisclosed health issue. So it's just kind of surprising. I like Evan Neal, but I really think the Giants look cross a little bit more.
I thought you were going to say there was a video of him smoking a bong. I'm like, not again.
Not a Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil 2.0. No way.
obviously it's with NFT, right?
How about that? Monetizing off a ball. That is the golden ball.
For a guy to go through that many bounces in his career and pretty much land on his feet every single time, Larry Tunsil, if you're listening, I need the lottery numbers, all right? I need the lottery numbers.
He's got Six Flags membership. That Rocky roller coaster ride, I mean, that night was crazy when that video came out. I was like, whatever, the dude's getting stoned, but it's not the best night for him to have that video come out. Al Hamilton, best available. Interesting, because a lot of people talked about him at one point being top 5, and now he's sliding maybe after 10. That's another intriguing option. I know Jets fans trying to avoid safety, but, if you pair Whitehead, Sauce, Hamilton, I mean, you drool at the secondary. If DJ Reed, that's a top 2 corners, top 2 safeties with Carl Lawson. That is a very, very intriguing Jet defense.
I don't think you'll go wrong in secondary. I like seeing in the second round, maybe possibly go in the first round, but I don't think you'll go wrong in the secondary either or. If Hamilton is there at 10 and we take Hamilton, can't be mad. That secondary sounds really good.
Or you trade down, get him at 14 maybe. He might fall. You get another pick next year. Stack up picks. That could work too.
I get the feeling that Jermaine Johnson is definitely going to be there at 10 as it continues to go. I mean, after the Giants pick, we have the Falcons at 8, and then the Seahawks at 9. It doesn't seem like he's going to be on the board by then. I think the Jets get their edge at 10.
All right, here comes Neil. Neil and Cross.
Cross.
There it is.
Oh, Evan Neal. Nice.
It's a good pick.
Good pick. Excellent pick. Evan Neal from Alabama. Of course, Alabama is basically a pro college program. A lot of pros from Alabama. A lot of players from Alabama to the pros, and Evan Neal is one of them.
You can't go wrong with an Alabama offensive lineman. Well coached, incredible competition going up against. You got Neal and KT, 2 guys who when mock started coming out were arguably top 4, top 3 picks, and you got them at 5 and 7. Giants fans should be jumping through hula hoops right now that they got themselves a franchise tackle and a franchise pass rush, 2 positions that we talked about with the Giants offensive line since the Super Bowl teams, and Sean O'Hara and those guys. I've talked to all of them, Chris Snee. They haven't had anything remotely close to those guys. It's been 10 to 12 years. Maybe Evan Neal's the start of something special, and maybe people can stop making excuses for Daniel Jones.
Listen, this is a franchise that had drafted Eric Flowers, and we see how badly that ended. So
where is he now? I don't even know.
He's not even in the league anymore from last time I checked. But Evan Neal, as your left tackle, particularly your future quarterback, is not going to be Daniel Jones. Is an excellent investment. Kayvon Thibodeau being your edge for the future is an excellent investment. I like what the Giants are doing. I've been sitting there for a while. Do not sleep with the New York Giants. They have a great coach and a great GM, and they have made 2 excellent picks within the top 10. Let's also keep in mind the Giants picks valued second over to the New York Jets. So, for their value right now, Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, instant plug-and-play starters. The Giants have an excellent first round. I'm going to go ahead and say A+ for those first 2 picks.
I agree. I think A+ is a good grade. I think the fact that KT fell in their lap, they didn't expect, and when it happened, it seemed like a no-brainer, because then you had the ability to go get one of the 2 offensive linemen at 7. I think they were hiring Icky. Once Icky came off the board, it seemed like Neal was the guy. Maybe trade down and get Cross later, but I think they're happy right now. Maybe they try and trade up and get another first-round pick at some point. I doubt it, but it's an A+. Giants fans, listen, they have had a rough offseason. They are broke. They are shopping at TJ Maxx. I love TJ Maxx. I love Marshall, but that's where they're shopping. They're not shopping at Prada. The Jets are Prada, Gucci, Louis. They're getting all the high-priced guys. The Giants aren't. So these are their high-priced guys. Remember, they might have trouble affording them if they don't move James Bradbury in the next couple hours or the next couple of days. So that's going to be another storyline to watch. We'll be monitoring. Jordan will be monitoring Twitter over here to see, do they end up making a deal? Because that's something that they're broke, and they need a certain amount of money to sign all of these draft picks. They need a lot to get these first 2. So that's the next storyline for the Giants is where does James Bradbury go? Can they afford him? Probably not. Can they get capital for him? Maybe not first round pick, but hey, maybe the Giants get a second round pick for James Bradbury.
The Giants being saddled with a bunch of bad contracts, questionable seasons of draft, getting Saquon Barkley early, drafting Daniel Jones the next year. I mean, look, the Giants are what they are. I'm surprised. I've said this several times on the podcast. For a team that has 4 championships, that won 2 4 in my lifetime, but 2 in the past 20 years, they look awful for a top 5 franchise so far historically. So hopefully this new regime turns things around. It's a mountain to climb, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, the Giants have kind of spent like drunken sailors on crack. I don't know how to word it, but Dave Gettleman, Dave Gettleman took out every loan possible. Everything they did, they spent way too much.
Drunk sailors wasn't enough. They got
On crack. To my Stephen A. boy for that. Lamar Odom was smoking crack. Like they did not, and Kevin Abrams was the cap god, the guy we've had on the podcast. And I think this new regime is starting to get it right. They have to get through the hurdles of this offseason, but I think they're in good shape the next year, and I think they believe they have the right head coach. And like I said, the vibes are good in that franchise right now. From what I've heard and talked to McKinney, he said everyone the highest energy they've seen in years there. And McKinney's the guy who's going to become a leader for that defense. And, he's a guy I would have liked on the Jets, Xavier McKinney. He's a really good player, had 5 interceptions last year, and now he's got a pass rusher in front of him. And, man, if both these defenses are going to be interesting because the Jets have boosted their secondary. Absolutely. We haven't seen Lawson, but now we get to see him if he's healthy. And the Giants have boosted their front 7.
The Falcons pick is in. They're sitting at number 8. A lot of speculation what the Bills going to do. They traded Matt Ryan to the Colts. Is it going to be Wills? It's going to be quarterback. I mean Willis. Is it going to be Malik Willis? Is it going to be? I don't know. What do you think, Kev?
I wanted to respond with what you talk about Willis, but I haven't been too corny. Let's see.
The Atlanta Falcons select Drake London.
Wow! A Jets option off the board.
Wow!
Imagine. Wow! There's the first real shock of the draft.
Wow.
Shocking.
I bought my custom Drake London jersey yesterday. What am I gonna do?
Yo, that asshole Drake fucking bet on Drake London being the first receiver taken.
Are you serious? He did, and he won.
He doesn't need the money.
He needs to be stopped. Yes, I'm hating America.
He needs to be stopped.
Would you look happy knowing who your quarterback is in Atlanta right now? I wouldn't be happy either. I ain't saying that. I don't even know who was Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That did happen. I'll say it.
There's a very good reason that you forgot about it.
Get the video cameras at Magic City on Monday ready because we might see Drake London. It would have been cool for the storyline to have Sauce and Drake London, 2 incredible names on the Jets.
Right.
But I think the Jets will still be happy with Garrett Wilson.
I'm sure the headline writers are upset.
Yeah. Gaz is upset.
There's quite a few blown opportunities that Drake London has. Listen, guys, we got 2 more picks until we cut the stream. We're only going to Big Ten, unless something crazy happens at Big Ten, and it extends us to past that. But we have 2 more picks left. Seattle at 9, Jets at 10. I mean,
Jermaine Johnson's there. No fan is mad at that.
Right, I'm not mad at it at all. I'm just going to be like, we've been talking about tackles and wide receivers. We're going to take 2 defensive players.
Well, if Wilson goes here, you probably go Johnson, I would imagine. I don't think he'll go to Seattle.
Seattle is the wild card. Nobody knows. Seattle's a wild card. Because there was a rumor that Seattle wanted to trade at the 7 with the Giants, but I guess it didn't happen, whatever they're going to offer. With the way the draft is going, Drake London going 8, Seattle's definitely going to be happy where they're at. I don't know who they pick. He's not exactly quarterback, receiver, defensive player. Can't call it. They lost their franchise quarterback. They had a whole back of trades, but I can't call it.
If Seattle goes quarterback here, do not play the video of Drew Lock on the sidelines rapping a Super Freak. Because, or what was the song he was rapping to?
It was
I think it was Super
It was
Freak.
something cheesy. It was cheesy. It was cheesy. Oh, it was I put on. I put on.
Was it put on?
Yo, that video should be forever.
Get the opposite of that.
Way too
and that'll
sorry.
be
Like between that video and the Baker one.
Yes, Baker dancing. That has humor value. Because he looks like an ass. No, he has humor value. Like, Drew Lock is white and likes rap.
Baker to Seattle could be a
All
big
he
bad.
needed was a fucking pole light and Baker said, hey, he would have gone viral like that bitch.
Baker was interested in Seattle, but Seattle, I can't say how best like is Seattle in official full-blown rebuild mode, or do you think it's a possibility they're going to hold out hope and maybe get Baker and just try to go for it in the West?
I think they might still go for it and try to go for a wild card spot. Baker, he's got to be intrigued by it. I mean, the guy wants a job. I mean, if I'm him, I'm going there. You have DK Metcalf to throw to, and a franchise with a great head coach with a winning pedigree. I know they're not great right now, but if I'm Baker, I'm signing up to go to Seattle in a heartbeat because where else is he playing right now? He's not playing in Cleveland.
And what is the ultimate Baker's game? Well, that's what I was told Jake. It sounded like the Seattle wasn't interested in taking Baker Mayfield.
That could change.
Baker Mayfield right now is worse than Make-A-Wish kid right now. He's worse. I mean, I don't know, a little more from Baker. What do you want to call it?
Seattle traded Russell Wilson partially because they tired him. So they're going to go from one vertically challenged quarterback that they tired of to an even worse vertically challenged quarterback that they like, what? I mean, granted, Pete Carroll is, say whatever you want about Pete Carroll. That logic don't track. Like, just take Malik Willis, have him work it down for you, and hope for the best.
Baker's a straight pup without a hole. Who wants him? Who wants the pup? I mean, he's not ugly.
Nobody. Where's the Keith Sweat? Nobody.
I don't even think the progressive commercials want him.
They traded for the freak how many weeks ago? It's been like 8-9 weeks, and nobody's trying to trade for Baker Mayfield.
Oh,
Bro, Sam Darnold netted a second-round pick, bro.
That's true.
Sam Darnold. And nobody wants to trade for Baker Mayfield. I mean, it was stupid. I'm not arguing that, but they had no trouble getting it. And the Cleveland's like, yo, Baker's available. I'm available. Nobody wants to play it.
Well, Baker went from jokingly sleeping in the stadium to might actually sleeping in the stadium if he doesn't have a job. So he might. I hope he has a good road collection.
Is that going to be the next progressive commercial?
Baker can't leave.
Bobby Anderson said that he doesn't want them to get Baker. Yo, last week, right? That was hilarious. Like, don't get it. Yo, that's hilarious for multiple reasons. Number one, Bobby ain't good enough to be number one. Right. Number two, like, yo, he tweeted in all caps, like, no! Like, bro, it's not that dramatic. And do you know who your current quarterback is? Like, it's an upgrade. It ain't much of a but it's an upgrade.
But let's ask this question: is Baker Mayfield that bad? Like, he's not awful. You know, he doesn't have a huge stick on him. What is the hang up with Baker Mayfield that teams just say?
What do you think the hang up is?
I mean, other than that, I mean, we're talking about
Other than
talent.
that, bro, if you're not good and you're a dickhead, that don't make sense.
Is he not? Is he? I don't think about not good. Is he not good enough? Is he not good enough to be a big head? That's right.
Yes, bro. They just gave $250 million guaranteed dollars to a freak. $250 guaranteed million to a freak freaking league. And they don't. And they're just like, yo, Baker right now, he's good.
Yeah, well, I think Baker did the labrum thing with the shoulder, so we'll see. I agree. He's not the best guy, but I do think he dealt with a lot of injuries last year. I think he deserves maybe one more year, but if he fails again, it's over.
Jude is back in the building after nuzzling with the crowd, probably getting some ladies' numbers. He's in his second drink. How do you feel about the draft so far? We're talking about the New York Giants getting Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. It feels like New York is back in the building as far as the Giants goes in. How do you feel about those picks?
You know, I think a lot of Jets fans are going to be hate watching Kayvon Thibodeau now in particular because he's on the Giants and everything. But honestly, as long as he somehow still come up with an edge rusher, and maybe it's just like a good pick, I think I'm fine with that. can't always take one for that thing. I see the Giants with those both lines and everything. It's going to take they don't have a good quarterback. They have a good coach. I think they have a good GM, but they don't have a good quarterback. They're not going to be good this year. But I think they're going to be fine. I think the Jets will be fine too. I think this is what really like overall a good draft content. Some of this is here and there, but overall, actually.
How do you feel about the Falcons basically switching everything up and taking Drake London at 8? Was that expected?
I was a little bit surprised because everyone expected the Jets to make a trade because then it was like the Niners trade for us and then they trade for London. I was a little bit surprised. Hats off to them. That's the month. I mean, they're in a bad place right now. They're in hell.
Seattle has a piss poor defense. They're in at 9. Is Jermaine Johnson going to be the pick at 9, or do they go offense? That defense is awful. It's awful defense. They need something to shake up.
You know, I think it's so crazy and pick a quarterback. I think they pick on Nick Willis.
Let's see.
Wow.
Wow.
The Jets have their pick now. Like,
Wow.
oh, now we know the Jets aren't going offensive line. So.
I would take a shot on Jason.
I think Wilson is going to be Wilson. He's healthy. You don't want a guy not healthy at the start of the year. They're in no position to have someone who can't play week 1. They need as many playmakers for Zach Wilson early as you can get.
I'm very surprised Seattle went offensive tackle, considering everything that they need to fix, especially defensively. I feel like they had a decent haul in return picks and players from the Russell Wilson trade. But I think they can fix the defense. I think they can defense. Well, if you're not coming at 9, trade back. I'm pretty sure. You know what's funny? Someone did say this was a draft that people will be trading back, not trading up. That surprise so far is surprising.
It might even start with us. Do you think it's going to start with us?
Yeah, I would like to see it here for Deebo Samuel. I'm sorry. I would trade this pick for Deebo. If you could get a package without giving up Elijah Moore like that rumor said, I think that would have been a terrible trade. Whatever that deal was. Some made-up rumor. There's so many of those. I'm glad mocks are over and we're actually watching picks happen because I'm sick of the mocks. I think you're going Jermaine Johnson or Garrett Wilson here. One of the two.
I mean, you don't see a trade for Deebo.
Or Deebo, but that's the wild card.
Obviously, the Jets know something that, the people up here don't.
You get an edge rusher. I know a lot of fans are like, oh my God, we got DB again. But I think the thing is, like, you see the AFC right now. You see what's going on in the AFC. The Jets are at a disadvantage defensively. I mean, normally I hate drafting defense, but this year it's like, you got to do it. You have to do it. Hello.
Yeah, I think either pick is a win because, remember,
what the hell?
I had to go. This is I was like, who is this? I legit was like, who the fuck is this? Draft night, Chris? It's Chris Nibley. It's Chris Nibley.
Jets inside and Chris Nibley was in the building. No beard. Listen, this is the biggest shock of the draft.
I know, I saw on your face. I was like, he has no idea who I am. What's up, bro?
This is Jake Brown. Like, Chris has no beard. This is my bearded bro. What's going on, Chris?
I lost a lot of weight, too. No beard and at least 50 pounds. So.
Let's see the hair, though. What's going on with the hair? Or the hair. All right.
Hey, man, I'm 40. I got hair.
Must be nice.
What's going on with that?
I lost a bunch of weight. I cracked under 200. That was like, beard's got to go.
You got to bring that
Beard's got to go. Still with that.
Yeah, pick is in.
And actually, I had it like not fully shaved, and I was trying to just trim it the other night when I was going out, and I fucked up. And so that's why I had to take it all the way down. It'll come back.
Joe Douglas giving high five. Jets are happy with their pick here.
At 10, I'm going to say Jermaine Johnson at 10. It makes no sense.
I'm saying Wilson, receiver.
don't think they will.
They got who they want. You don't think they're going to progress?
I don't know what happened in the first 9 picks. I know Sauce. That's all I know.
You got to remember, too, Corey Davis could be cut after this year. And Wilson can sign it. They have the option. If they cut Corey Davis after this year, there's nothing against the cap. So
I don't think they go.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him. He dropped Corey Davis. He dropped Wilson.
yeah, Corey Davis. That's why I think they're taking Wilson. I think that factors in.
I mean, defense always would be good. Some depending on defense.
I know. Walking in like,
I was smoked about Jermaine
I
Johnson.
knew he was good.
He was going to be just making.
But like I never met him in person, and I was like, no, you smoke right now.
I think it's a pick.
On Gangs All Here last week, Kaz predicted Johnson would go 4. So if you get him at 10, and you sold 2 second-round picks or trade up for Lindenbaum, then it's interesting.
I don't think Joe Douglas wants anything with a receiver in the first round. And this guy are 10. They might trade back. Maybe trade back 10 receivers.
Why not?
Wilson or Johnson, it's a win. Either way, you're happy.
Receiver. The value's not there, especially in such a deep class.
Yeah.
And if they wait and get Trayvon Burks, it's Patrick Jersey.
Let's go.
Player, but
That's an at 10. There it is. Wow. 2 for 2 on my picks. I should have bet. I didn't bet tonight.
I don't like I do not like his suit. He's dressed like
He's dressed for New York is what he's dressed like.
he's dressed like Two-Face.
I'm happy. This is good stuff right here.
You have to like this pick, guys. Look at their receiving core with their tight ends. Zach Wilson has all the playmakers in the world. Michael Carter in the backfield. You got Corey Davis. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Tyler Conklin. You got Braxton Berrios. You got Elijah Moore. If Denzel Mims shows up, shows everyone why he's hot, then every receiver is stacked. You have to love this. They have so many playmakers. I'm pumped for the offense right now.
I'm pumped up. This is good stuff. I mean, I'm happy. I think overall this draft has been pretty good. Like everything is good. You got off, you got defense, you got offense. We're trying to slowly start to compete in the AFC because what we're doing right now, we're way behind the AFC. I think everyone can see the Jets are way behind the AFC. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to slowly start to get back to the AFC. This is the way to start. So I'm proud of those others. I cannot complain.
Very surprised with all the conversation about edge, all the conversation about tackle. We go quarterback and wide receivers at 4 and 10. We solidify our secondary. We solidify our wide receiver core. It's great to see. Now in the second round, it's going to get interesting. The Jets trade back up to the first round with the two second round picks. Will they stay pat? Will they add another safety? I don't know. Where does the edge help come from? Are they happy and content with the edge help they have right now? That's an easy question.
Well, do they trade a second and a future first and get Johnson or Hamilton? Probably not. I probably wouldn't do that. But that's something you can think of. It depends where Johnson goes. If Johnson gets picked right here, that's gone. I think they'll probably keep both seconds, get a center, and get a pass rusher in the second round.
I'm just glad that, like you said, Jake, the talk is over, the speculation over, all the smoke machines are done. We actually get to see the guys come off the board, and wasn't surprised, you know. Kayvon was there, we didn't take him, and Garrett Wilson was there, Bevel and Sand got him. We didn't take Jermaine Johnson either, so for the Jets faithful, a lot of people may be happy, a lot of people may be indifferent, but no one should be unhappy with our two picks.
The Commanders just traded their pick, by the way, to the Saints at 11.
Yeah. You know, I'm not surprised by the Sauce Gardner pick. I know a lot of people are. I'm not at all. The character about this kid, that they love this kid as a person. Forget the football player for a second. As a person, they love this kid. But as a football player, they love it too. That doesn't surprise me. I am surprised they went receiver at 10. But Garrett Wilson, man beater, he's going to break that press man. That's what they need. Somebody can go deep. Zach Wilson next to target. Go look, a Linderbaum, a little interior line.
a power back in the middle rounds. This offense is getting. You still need a tight end more. They got some veterans there, but you want more explosive. But yeah, man, they're getting there. And still, they need Zach Wilson to take that step. But this is the thing I've been talking about. The new thing in NFL, you get your rookie quarterback, you need to put training wheels on. That's what these teams are doing. Tyreek Hill, Dolphins, training wheels. Zach Wilson's got his training wheels.
So much rides on Zach Wilson now. No excuses. He's got the offensive line. He's got the receivers. He's got the tight end. It's showtime, buddy. Like, he should be drooling. If he goes to our lads or whatever your shorts for your depth charts are, he shall be drooling at what is around him. And Michael Carter, too, like, is an explosive running back that gives him another receiving option. And they're probably going to add another running back before the season. They'll probably get one in the second or third round as well. He should be drooling, salivating wherever he is. His mom's probably posting on her Instagram story right now about it. He's got to be hyped right now, Zach Wilson. His progression is the big storyline in year 2 here because he's got everything he needs on that.
So out of all the second-year quarterbacks, and I'm going to exclude Davis Wilson's conversation, even though he's had a good solid rookie year. We're going to talk about here, guys. We're going to talk about Trevor Lawrence, as well as Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance, and Justin Fields as well. Who do you think makes that big step? I think we should also salute Trey Lance and see him have a rookie showing. Between Fields, Lawrence, and Wilson, who do you think makes that next big step?
I'm going to say Zach. Like I said, I just think he's got too much around him to fail, and I think this is his time to shine. And I did think we saw enough progression from him in December where he stopped turning the ball over, stopped making mistakes, started using his legs a little bit. I think they're going to take the training wheels off now, let him run a little bit more, but be careful about it, throw the ball away a bit. I think we saw some progression. Now he's got the player. So I'll go with the hometown boys.
Yeah, it's tough. Trevor Lawrence's situation hasn't gotten much better. Justin Fields' situation hasn't gotten much better. Trey Lance, I'm a big Trey Lance fan. Shanahan, he'll be fine. But the thing with Wilson, you look at the way he turned it was a disaster. He was a disaster, and everything else fell apart around him, and he stabilized. Now, he didn't do anything great, but he couldn't. The opportunity wasn't there because who's working racks and barriers. But he stopped making those mistakes. With weapons, how on the defense side of the ball, they went into the season knowing we're going to take our lumps here, and then they still had to plug and play undrafted free agents throughout the season. Like, yeah, of course it was going to get ugly. So you just got to hope that Zach learned and stabilized, and we'll see how good. But everything else around him is set up that even if he's not great, he still should be good.
Chris, Thank you, man. Yo, this is our very own Jets Insider. Go to jetsinsider.com. Follow Kristen on Twitter at CNIMPLY. He's been on our podcast an unprecedented amount of times. We're finally get to meet him in person. Great guy. We got to check around me for the very first time. You're post Gangs on here, Mason Detroit. Let's go, Mex. Let's go, Mex, baby. Let's go. I'm going to Israel Case. Jude, Kevin Lewis signing off. Peace.